Good day, everybody. It is Christy from Keto. So I've been asked a couple of times to show how I clean my Dash waffle maker. So I'm finding this to be a good opportunity to make a video to give you a little bit of tips and tricks and things I've learned while making Ch-Waffles. So I will insert a little video on how I clean my Dash waffle maker, but let's get into some other tips. So I believe it's very important to get your eggs to room temperature. A lot of bakers will tell you the same thing. If you know anybody that does a lot of baking, it's a lot easier to work with eggs that are room temperature. If you think about it ahead of time, take out the egg about an hour before you're going to use it, leave it in its shell on the counter for an hour. It should bring it up to room temperature. If you don't remember, just put it in some warm water, say in a coffee mug, about 5 minutes before you're getting ready to make your chaffles, and it should get it up to room temperature for you. I personally like to use cage-free brown eggs, but that's just my personal preference. Any egg you use, I believe it's best to get it up to room temperature, especially when you're making the sweet ones. The savory, sometimes you can get away with not using room temperature eggs, but I still recommend them. Let's see, extracts and oils and flavorings, say the stir water enhancers or the Skinny Girl syrups or any of the extracts. Anytime you're using a liquid fluid like that, I believe it's important to use a carrier. And when I mean carrier, what I mean by that is like a coconut flour or a cocoa powder or shredded coconut. Something that you can pour the liquid onto, let it absorb in there, and that, say the cocoa powder or the shredded coconut, to absorb all the liquid up before you continue to make your chaffles. If you put it directly into the egg mixture, for some reason it changes the whole consistency of it. And the best way I like to describe it is it makes it look like the chaffle is a deflated balloon. So that's another tip. Use a carrier. Let's see. Also, if you watch me, you know I melt my cream cheese in this little metal bowl. I stick it on my little Dash when I'm preheating it and let it melt the cream cheese for me. Because I do that, the cream cheese is pretty warm and the bowl is pretty warm. So I take my powder ingredients, say when I'm making a sweet chaffle or Ch-Waffle, I put it in there first, the dry ingredients, because if I put the egg into the hot cream cheese and the warm bowl, of course it's going to start cooking the egg before I want it to. So if you add in your dry ingredients before you add in your egg, it cools down the temperature some, so it doesn't start cooking the egg before you're ready for it to cook the egg. Let's see, what else? Cooling rack. Everybody knows me, knows I say this in every single video. When I am done with my Ch-Waffle, when they are done, I take them out and I put them on a cooling rack. Because if I put them directly on a plate, the heat coming off of the Ch-Waffle will cause condensation and it will get soggy on the bottom. And when you're making two and you got your first one out and you set it on the plate and it's hot, chances are it's going to get soggy on the bottom. And I personally don't like it soggy on the bottom, so I always have my handy dandy cooling rack on hand. So these are some of my tips, tricks, whatever you want to call them, pointers. And I am going to insert the video on how I clean my little Dash waffle maker. It's so simple. And that is it. I will also say I have not had to spray my Dash with any kind of coconut oil spray, avocado oil spray. Nothing's been sticking to it, so I kind of leave that process out now. It's just something that, works for me, might not work for you. But these are just my tips and tricks. So thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye. Just a quick tip, some of you might already know, but when I'm done with my waffle maker, I unplug it. And while it's still hot, I take a paper towel, get it wet, wring out the excess water, and then I just lay it across my waffle maker and close the lid. You can still see the steam coming off of there. Close the lid on it, for a couple minutes, and then I come back to it, and then I just kind of, you know, wad it up like that and go through it and wipe it down some more. But the moisture coming off of the paper towel really helps to get it clean and ready for me to use next time. And by doing it right away while it's still hot, it really does make a big difference, in my opinion. I mean, if you have a better way, please let me know. I'm always open to suggestions, especially when it's going to make my life easier. And anything that makes something easier to clean makes my life a lot easier. So this is what I've been doing. This is my tip as of right now until I find something better.